All right. It's another opportunity to catch up with some coaches at Utah State. Excited for our next guests, Stacy Collins and Frank Maile, kind enough to join us. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing awesome.
Doing great, Scotty. Thanks for having us on, man.
It's good to catch up with you. So Stacy, let's talk with you first. What have these last few months been like for you, trying to make sure guys are doing what they need to be doing and where they need to be, and doing school online and still working out on their own? What's that been like?
Yeah, it's certainly been a different phase for all of us, but getting real familiar with this Zoom, that's for sure. We're all dialed in, but it's been, our kids have done an unbelievable job. They did a great job in the classroom. They finished extremely strong, had a GPA again, well over 3 point, which anytime you put 100 plus kids together, I think that's a huge indicator of the focus and the work that they've put in. And for us, we've tried to do everything we can to keep them on routine. We've been working through an install or two a week as we continue to teach the defense, then reteach and teach it again. And then we've done a scouting report per opponent per week also. So we've been able to get a lot of football work done. We meet with them multiple times a week, and we're limited on really what we can do from a workout standpoint, other than just have some conversation with it about it. But we've got a mature group, a hungry group, and we walked out here out of the little bit of spring we had, but the winter conditioning spring, and really love the mindset that our players were in.
Coach Maile, what was that like for you? 2 or 3 practices in spring, and they say you got to shut it down, no more. I can't imagine that was easy for you.
No, man, it was because there's a bunch of guys we needed to see this spring to just try to figure out where we're at and get our depth chart ready to go and see who can help us this fall and where we need to move forward with possible numbers of bringing guys in. But it was that was the hardest thing, just talking a little bit earlier with these guys, is missing spring ball, which is huge for us.
Coach Collins, is it a certain situation where, you're going to find out pretty quick when these guys get back on campus who's been doing what they're supposed to be doing? I mean, cream usually rises to the top anyway, but you'll find out pretty quick who spent their time off doing what you asked them to be doing.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And you're going to, we're all in the same boat here all across college football, right? So it's not like anybody has an advantage on that end, but that's certainly going to be the case. You're going to see the guys, from a player standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, who have put the time in, put the work in. So when this thing does start going again, we hit the ground running, and it's going to happen sooner than later. Is
it a leadership thing too with Coach Maile? Is it something where these guys need to be on each other and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Absolutely. That's been a huge emphasis for us, especially coming from Coach Anderson to the players, because we can only do so much, right? And then at some point it means more coming from their teammates and their peers than it does from us, as far as relaying the same message to those guys and how important it is that they're actually doing what we're asking them to do away from us, so that when they come back, we don't take any steps backwards, and we're moving forward as soon as they hit the ground running here.
How excited are you about some of these kids that have had an opportunity to, get some more reps and are expected to have a bigger role? Coach Collins, are there some guys that you're expecting to really step up here?
Well, we certainly are, and I think Frank hit it on. We all wanted to see some more time, get through, your 15 spring practices, get a chance to see, and see some guys battling some positions. So we've got some talent that we're extremely excited. We've got some young position battles that we want to see more football and get a chance to watch them go. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that in the spring, but we'll get our time to see those young men do that. And I really like a lot of the talent we have. It's just a matter of sorting through a couple of those battles and see who's going to win that job.
If you guys could have it sounds like people are going to probably start coming back in June. You feel comfortable do you feel like that's enough time to make sure you're ready to go come whenever the season starts? I'll let you handle that.
I don't think we have a choice. You know what I mean? So it's been a month-to-month deal for us, and we've made a huge emphasis on how important May is, right? And some of the kids are like, well, we're going to start in June. I said, and our thing was, that doesn't matter right now. May's the most important. When we get to June, we'll figure that out. And if it's longer, then June becomes the most important month. And so it's kind of been a step-by-step deal for us and our kids, and they've been really good at it. And so the most important month is finishing May and getting them here next week and getting ready to rock and roll. So it's been good.
Coach Collins, it's interesting because I've been around you guys enough, and I know coaches, you guys I've seen these practices where you have it detailed down to the second. Exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, where you're going to be working, what you're going to be working on. And these last couple of months, not having a schedule and not having any kind of structure, that goes against everything you guys are used to as coaches. How difficult has that been?
Yeah, it's hard for us. But one of the best things we did right away, and Frank just alluded to it, is it was talk about routine. It was talk about what are we doing this day? What are we doing this week? Let's put one foot in front of the other. How can we be the best we can be today? What is through that? Whether that's our Zoom meeting through our position groups, whether that's over a stall, whether it's our players doing their work, whether it's us as a staff finalizing that game plan, working through it. And Coach Maile said it. I mean, this is the situation we're in. I'm getting old now, okay? But I remember when I played, this was kind of the norm, right? You showed up and you had it. And that's really, really foreign to these players, so they don't understand it. But for me, hey, you're going to hit that ground running. You're going to find out real quick who has and who hasn't. And, it's been done before. And we've certainly trended away from that over years, and there's good reason for that. But it's been done before, and we'll be ready once we can hit the ground.
Coach Maile, there's been a lot of guys out there that, some guys have weights at home. Some guys had some access to some things, and then probably other guys didn't. What's the strength and conditioning program been like, and how have those coaches tried to tailor make something and get these guys doing something, even if they weren't able to get to a gym or anything like that?
They've done a really good job, and I think they had to look at worst case scenario. Okay, do you have anything, period? And if you don't, here's the body weight workout, that you got to do until we get to that point where things starting to open up and you can get some weights. A few of my D linemen, I had them to go purchase some key things just to have at the house that were cheap, but that would at least allow them some resistance at the house to be able to get their workouts done. And so it's been kind of a personalized, individualized deal with kids. And so they've kind of created different types of workouts depending on how much equipment you had access to. And so they've done a good job doing that. So it's been a pretty good deal. It's really just about stay on top of the kids to get it done.
Have you guys started working out on who's on the field, who's going to be up in the booth, and those kind of things, Coach Collins?
Yeah, we have. Yep, we sorted through that. I'll be up in the box, and Frank will be down on the sideline. So Coach Jenna, Coach Orfrey, and Coach Maile will be downstairs. Me, Coach Boj, and our GAs and our QCs will be up in the box.
Because I know that one thing is, communication is always huge, and making sure that, everybody's getting the right conversations down there on the sidelines. And Coach Maile, it's got to be cool to know that you got a plan in place and you know exactly what's going to be like going into the season.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And it's going to be good to have Stacy up there, man. He does a great job. So to have his eyes on the field from the top is really going to be the key for us. And then me communicating the message from up top, what we see, what we need to get fixed on the ground level. So it's kind of a good setup, a good mixture of good experience up top and on the floor. So we're excited.
Who are some guys that you're excited to see when you get them back and you're anticipating having a good season? Coach Collins, I'll start with you, and then Coach Maile, you can jump in on that too.
Well, I'm certainly looking to see excited to watch some of our battles at our corner position. I think we've got a lot of talent there and some guys that it would have been neat to go through the spring. And we've got some senior leadership on that back end too, with a couple seniors that have played a lot of football for us. And I think those are exciting. I'm excited to see Coach Maile work with the D-line and continue to develop. And then on top of there's going to be some major battles at linebacker. And that's going to be where I think we have a lot of talent in there. It'll be interesting to see how that talent shakes out, who's really going to rise to the top once we get in competitive situations.
Definitely a lot of talent. I think there's a lot of talented guys we have on our team, but a lot of unproven guys. So, some of our transfer guys coming in, some of our young backers, Coach Collins just talked about, we're excited to see because we think they're big-time talent, but, they haven't done anything yet. So it still remains to be seen. Some of our grad transfers, Marcus Moore is a guy I'm excited to see, has all the tools in the toolbox, man, to be an explosive game changer for us up front. Justice Tay, obviously we moved him from the outside backer DN spot to the 3-4 DN up front, and I'm excited about him. I think he's going to be a really good player. And then some of our veteran guys at the nose position, I look forward to seeing play. So, again, it's a very talented team. We got to put all those pieces together.
Coach Maile, you've been recruiting this state for a long time, and I know that you're a guy that gets into a kid's home and has dinner with the family and compliments mom on the meatloaf and all that other stuff. But you're not able to do that now. How difficult is it to do recruiting over a Zoom call?
Man, it's hard, man, because the biggest thing for us is just sizing kids up, seeing them in person, really their demeanor, how they carry themselves, how that conversation goes. And for me, I have a hard time talking to I'd rather have a face-to-face conversation just to feel kids out, fill out the family situation. And so it's been hard, but it's out of our control. So we gotta, I was talking to Stacy before you got on here about how right on we have to be with these evaluations with this signing class because of the lack of live evaluations that we're going to be placed in going into this signing class. So we got to trust our evaluations when we watch film. We got to get to know these guys inside and out because unfortunately, the first time we get to see them is probably going to be this fall.
How difficult when looking ahead to next year's class, if there's not, and I don't know what the status is, so I apologize if you guys know how it's going to play out or not, but if there's not like a all poly camp or some of these other camps that go on during the summer, how difficult is it to lose that evaluation period, Coach Maile?
It's huge because if you look at how we evaluate our guys and the comments we make in our systems, a lot of it has to do with, hey, we really like this kid, but we need to see him in camp, right? So if you went and ranked all of our evaluations, probably 90% of them say that, right? They're a wait and see guy. We really like him, but we need to see him live at one of our camps or a camp in California or in Oregon, wherever we travel to. It's huge. So that's going to be a huge hit for us to not see these kids live, move around, and for some of those padded camps, see them bang a little bit, to kind of the pieces that we don't see on film, to see them live. We're not going to get an opportunity to do that. So our film evaluation and seeing them live this fall is going to be huge.
Coach Collins, from your perspective, I mean, you've recruited for a long time as well. How difficult has this been for you?
It's extremely unique. And it's funny, right before you got on right here, Scott, we got a deal from the NCAA saying they extended that dead period all the way to July 31st. So it can't be really going to be done, right, if you look at it that way. But it's a huge influence. But you got to adapt and overcome. I mean, that's what, if football teaches you anything, that's what you have to do. You got to find a way. And, the unique thing about Utah State and Logan is when we can get parents and we can get kids on this campus here, it's unbelievable. And so we've got to find ways to do that through virtual tours, spend the time, find different unique ways to do that, because this place is very unique. And when we get players, and really more importantly, when we get parents on here, our success rate is over the top. And Frank hit it on the head. Coach Maile hit it on the head earlier. You just got to make sure you're making the right decisions. You're getting the right people here that can obviously play at this level, but are going to fit into Utah State.
I guess the interesting thing, Coach Maile, is that I guess you're not unique. Everybody's dealing with it. And so it's going to be a survival of the fittest because everybody's in the same boat.
No doubt, man. And so we gotta trust what we see and what we find out. And it's old school recruiting, back in the day. So we're not going to be able to get out there. It's out of our control. So what we can control is the information we get from their coaches and the film that we watch. We gotta be great at evaluating their film.
Coach Collins, from a scheme standpoint, next year, somebody walking into that stadium, and hopefully at that point, there's a lot of people walking into that stadium. But when people sit down and watch this team, are people going to be able to tell some differences defensively, or is it more just about executing the scheme that's already been in place?
We're going to go to the roots of what great Utah State defense has been here, and that's going to be a 3-4 attacking style defense that fits our personnel extremely well. We're going to be exciting with what we're doing. We're going to play sound, fundamental football, and it starts right there. But we're also going to be able to add some pressure packages, keep people off balance, be able to change our coverages with that. And it starts with being technically sound, fundamentally sound, but then be able to work the exotics off of that. And that's a trend that's been here before, and we're excited to get rolling back. And me and Coach Maile, when we were here in the past, be able to get that style of defense rolling that fits our scheme, fits our players, and put a product on the field that's fun to watch.
I mean, let's be honest. You two weren't offensive coaches. You guys are where you need to be.
That's why they sent us back, man. They couldn't handle us for more than a year.
Yeah, that offensive coaching staff's like, you guys got to go somewhere else. We can't handle you over here. Gentlemen, hey, it's been fun catching up with you. Stay safe up there. Look forward to catching up with you again here soon.
Likewise. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scotty.
You got it. Awesome. Thanks, guys.